Last time we spoke about the Turkey Leg Hut when they was dealing with a lawsuit from these new residents that came in that was not of the original community of Third Ward, claiming that the smoke was bothering them. But we know that the Turkey Leg Hut is a very successful business here in Houston. People stand in a long line to go get turkey legs from Turkey Leg Hut. So with the public knowing about the lawsuit and know what they was trying to do and all the sneaking, underhanded things they was trying to do to this brother and sister that owns the Turkey Leg Hut, it was exposed and they dropped their lawsuit because they was trying to do this, dirt undercover, right? So now it is being reported again, they involved in more lawsuits. And, black people have a hard time running their businesses as it is. And when you have just, so many different things coming against you as a black person, and then you're dealing with these issues. So they actually have lawsuits going, but it's based off of business partners who co-own the restaurant itself are in the middle of two lawsuits that accuse each other of stealing money for personal gain, fraud, and they have explosive claims. OK, so the first lawsuit was done on July the 8th by a guy that co-owns. His name is Steve Rogers, and accuses the co-owner and well-known community figure Nakia Price of using funds and supplies from the flagship restaurant for her other food trucks and catering gigs without compensating other shareholders. And then Rogers himself owns Bar 5015. And you know anything about 5015, it made headlines maybe about a month or so ago where 5015 exploded. They showed guys pouring fuel all on there and then it blew up. Now, to me, I'm not saying that there was criminals that did that. I'm saying that it looked kind of fishy to me. Does it look fishy? I don't know. I could be wrong, but it looked fishy to me if you saw that video because those guys look like they knew exactly what they were doing, right? So Rogers' lawsuit, also accuses ownership stakes amid an extensive list of other financial mismanagement against Price. That's what he says in his lawsuit. He said now she filed a lawsuit against them as well on July 15th, accusing Rogers of embezzling, pocketing thousands of dollars in valet parking fees over more than a year and lying about securing a rent deferment agreement that ultimately threatened the restaurant's lease, according to what's going on here. They said that all the two parties agreed in a temporary restraining order, barring Rogers from interfering with the business. They say while Nakia Price has been ordered not to use the restaurant's funds or supplies for other ventures. They said this isn't the first time they were talking about them being embroiled in a lawsuit. We talked about that. Now they said the restaurant will be open. Don't worry about that. They still have their dine-in service. They still have their delivery service. They put out a statement saying that the vested partners will continue to focus on operating the business through, these trying times of COVID-19 pandemic, to keep the doors open and our employees with jobs to feed their families, and say as well as keep our guests' safety as our priority. They'll say Ms. Price has always been a woman of integrity, love, compassion for her brand as she started years ago in the field of the rodeo. Okay, and will continue to work daily for the community and customers whom they appreciate so much. As we continue to move forward as a company and our team works together to get past this, we will keep everyone informed as we are legally able to. So for me, when I do stories, ladies and gentlemen, I learn from all these different stories that I'm reporting. And, for me is that you don't want too many hands involved, and you got to make sure the hands that are involved, they got to be integrous people. OK, now, if let's say that's true with taking restaurant funds to do other Turkey Leg Hut ventures. OK, well, if you guys are doing that underneath the same brand, shouldn't that be part of the expansion of the brand, the Turkey Leg Hut? I'm just saying. So everybody just figure out what your cut is and get your cut. That's how I see it. I think that's something that's simple. You want the brand to expand. You don't want the brand just to stay in that one restaurant. Then another thing that bothers me is that they said that you're leasing that place. Now, from just the figures I heard, I could be wrong. Turkey Leg Hut is doing very, very well there. Which I would say the focus should be is buying your own place or getting your own place built. We don't have to worry about, leasing anything. At least that would be, the ultimate goal at the end of the day, because you don't want to be in a situation where someone could tell you, okay, you got to close shop, it's my place. You don't want to lease like that, especially you don't want nobody playing with your lease and putting. I'm the type of person, I have to be in control of everything. So it wouldn't be too good for me to be having all these people. And if these people do come in, they will have to understand I'm in control, because I know what I'm doing for what we have going on. I'm not going to let somebody just come in and just start running things. That's not going to happen. I mean, you can assist, but you're not going to run nothing. And for sure, when it comes down to the money, you definitely ain't putting your hands on anything. No, it's going to be so centralized that no, I got to run it like that. I believe in a kingdom. I don't believe in a democracy when it comes to business. At least with me, y'all can do democracy. I believe in kingdom. We always talk about kings and queens, right? Run your business like a kingdom, not a democracy. I hope they get past this. Like I say, every time you look up, their brothers and sisters always dealing with some issues. Like anytime black people have a successful business, this always happens. I noticed that. And, I hope they can get through this. And, the person that Steve Rogers guy, that had his 50-15, blown up, which, that cost some black people to lose some money that I know, that was actually working there. And that whole situation, just like I say, is screwed up to me. But leave me a comment, guys. Let me just think about the situation. Like I said, with the turkey leg hut. I know a lot of you who live in the Houston area love the turkey leg hut. They support their brother and sister. They trying to do, their business, even in the midst of this pandemic. I believe definitely to keep supporting black owned businesses.